Hello and welcome everybody. High School Sports Unlimited. Another week is underway. Week 7. 6? What are we on here?
7.
I keep seeing Buford's record, and it's throwing me way off. I think Buford's played like 14 games now.
Yeah, they haven't had a break yet, and they played a week early. So
there you go. So
they're 7-0.
Yeah, when does Buford get their break, by the way?
Well, they got a Thursday game this week, and then they've got a break, and then they've got another game, and then they've got a break, and then I think they've got the play-in game, I do believe.
Buford's in the ACC now. They play Thursday Night Football. It's amazing. All right, we got a lot to get to. Welcome to High School Sports Unlimited. I'm Jed Hickenbotham. That is Morgan Lee. He is the most important person in the room right now. He is sports editor for AccessNorthGA.com. We are covering all things high school sports all over North Georgia. We're smack dab in the middle of the football season. We will be talking about some other sports that are going on right now in the fall season as well. But let's get to the gridiron, get to the football action, and we'll be talking about the games coming up for this coming high school football week. But right now, let's take a look at some other games from this past Friday, and let's start with a game at the Brickyard, a game which I don't think. If you were to ask 10 people, I think you're going to get 5 people saying North Hall was going to win this rivalry game and 5 people saying that Chestatee was going to win this rivalry game. So not a surprise that one team won over the other. Not a surprise that North Hall beat Chestatee, but it was how they did it. I mean, just total dominating fashion.
Yeah, I was shocked, frankly, that game was that one-sided. I really thought it was going to be a battle the whole way. Both teams had, pretty good offenses coming into the game, and I was really expecting both teams to be able to score a fairly decent amount, a very similar game to what they played last year, really, is what I was expecting. And we didn't see that at all. North Hall just came out and established the line of scrimmage on both sides, and Amani Cross and that entire backfield had its way, really.
Unbelievable PlayStation kind of numbers. Amani Cross, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns on just 16 carries. He got one last carry, I think it was in the third or early the fourth quarter. We're like, why is he getting the carry? Realized they're going for a school record. But North Hall, they're smart folks over there. I know that they can do the math, but nobody knows what the school record is.
No, apparently not. Now, I haven't talked to Coach Christmas this week. I guess they've probably had a chance to maybe review some records. But that night, there were a bunch of people at odds with each other, saying, "Well, I think the record's 280. Well, no, I think someone had 300. Well, no, it was just going back and forth, and really in the end, it didn't matter because all that really mattered was the final score and the fact that Amani was just running up and down the field regardless." So.
I see somebody like in the basement of North Hall High School, like going through some old filing cabinets, looking at the 1961.
We probably should have dialed up Gene Anderson. I bet he probably would have known.
He probably wouldn't have. Well, I'll tell you something. All right, so just a dominating performance by Amani Cross. You and I were just talking before the broadcast. I mean, that's as good as North Hall's offensive line has looked all season long. They back to doing what they do, and that's bully people around. That's what they did with Chestatee.
Yeah, just creating big holes. I was down on the sideline in the first quarter doing film and video footage, and I could have run through some of those holes. It was impressive the way that they were kicking people out and giving their backs plenty of room to work with. And once Amani gets past that first line of defense, you're going to have a real hard time stopping him or slowing him down. And he burst 3 runs of over 30 yards, or it might have even been 4. And I was mightily impressed. This North Hall team has come a long way, I think, in just really 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, they really have. And you might be able to run through those holes, but you're not going to be able to pull away from some fast defensive backs.
I'd probably get smacked as soon as I got past the line of scrimmage. But
yeah. That's very true. All right, so after the game, Mr. Morgan Lee, who was at the game, as he said, got to sit down and talk with Coach Bob Christmas, a very proud Coach Christmas after his North Hall win.
Coach, first off, congratulations. How nice was it, to make a statement like that, just to come out and dominate the way you did, especially early?
Well, it's really nice. I said all along that this was going to be a good football team. And you're 0-3, people think you're crazy, but I still believed in these kids. And the great thing is they still believe, which is a real tribute to them. And then to be able to come out against a team that's 3-1, could have easily been 4-0. And to play like we did, I couldn't be prouder of our football team.
Talk about, you talked about that 0-3 start. How important was that for tonight's game?
Well, when you're playing really good people, you can respond one of 2 ways. You can get better, learn from it, or you can tuck and run. And our kids decided they were going to get better. And, we had a rash of injuries that really kind of put us back. We're starting to get healthy again. So I think it made us the team we are today.
And, it looked like your offensive line was just, both lines of scrimmage really played well tonight, but offensive line was, ripping up some huge holes there. Talk about how well they played.
Yeah, we got a chance to have the best offensive line we've had in 11 years. They can be really good. We got a lot of work to do still, but they're playing very well.
Coach Bob Christmas right there, very happy with his win. North Hall 2-3 on the year. They got a good, very important game coming up this week. And Chestatee has a pretty tough game as well. We'll talk more about both those teams, and they'll both be in action this week. All right, moving on. Jefferson, I was surprised with this one, Morgan. They lose to North Oconee. 38-28 was the final score in this one. That's how you're going to have to beat That's how you're going to beat Jefferson. You're going to give up some touchdowns, but North Oconee looks like they're a pretty good team.
Absolutely. No, I expected a very close finale. I wasn't sure who was going to win this game. North Oconee came in with a really, really good defense. I think giving up the second fewest amount of points behind Buford in AA, and Jefferson came in with one of the top 5 scoring offenses in AA. So
some had to give.
Yeah,
right?
I knew it was going to be a good matchup. I think in the end, North Oconee, just about edged it with that defense. Jefferson was dealing, their top receiver is off the team at the moment, and Cole Givens, and I don't know whether that made a huge difference in the game because I didn't get a chance to see it, but certainly it was just a real knockdown drag out. I mean, it was back and forth the whole way until the end. North Oconee just got a little bit of cushion there late.
Could you follow what Coach T. McFerrin was saying before that game about that defense? Because he's saying they twist and they go and they I don't even know what he was talking about, really.
Basically was just saying that, all right, trying to make it simple here, most defensive linemen are, at least a third of the time when the ball is snapped, they're moving almost straight ahead.
Right.
But when they're stunting and twisting, everybody is basically they're pulling out of one gap and going into a different gap, or they're slanting in a different. Basically, no one is just going straight ahead and trying to bull their way into the backfield. Everyone is moving to a different position, and it just really creates a lot of confusion for an offensive lineman because it's like, who do I pick up?
Yeah.
There's nobody here in front of me, and all of a sudden somebody's gone the other way.
I guess that's kind of like facing a spread offense or something like that where you don't see it all that much in high school. So if you can do something that like on defense, it's very difficult to block. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing that's dangerous about doing that kind of defense is if you face a team that's really big and can run the ball right down your throat. If you've got guys moving that much on the line of scrimmage, they're not going to be in a good position to hold offensive linemen up when they're just running straight ahead. So it'll be interesting to see. Unfortunately, that didn't play because Jefferson is not a straight ahead kind of team. They've got a lot of speed. They're more of a perimeter team. So it'll be interesting to see when North Oconee plays Elbert County, who is much more of a smash mouth straight ahead team, if that's actually works for them.
Yeah, quarterback Brian Sheriff's got his numbers, 242 yards and 4 touchdowns. But overall, Jefferson, the offense just really slowed in the second half of that game. North Oconee gets the win. We'll be talking about West Hall here in just a little bit, but real quick, want to mention and congratulations, Riverside Military Academy. Our cameras were at this game, and Riverside gets the win against Social Circle. 21-0 is the score in this one. We know about what kind of season Riverside's had so far. To be able to get that first win, you kind of root for a team where the coach just, in the middle of the season leaves. I think of the first 2 or 3 games. Don't know the situation of why he left, if he was asked to leave, what it was, but you got to feel good for a team like that. Right?
It sounded like a mutual decision, basically, with the coach leaving, and they just Riverside coming into the season knew it was going to be tough anyway. I'm not sure that Social Circle knew it was going to be as tough a season for them, but it certainly has turned out to be a good win for Riverside to finally get on the board. I mean, 21 points. I think they'd only been averaging like 6 points a game or something coming into that. So definitely a nice victory for the Eagles.
And for folks at Riverside Military Academy, email Morgan after the game. Give him the statistics of the ball games. It helps out a great deal.
Be nice.
Yeah, it'd be very nice. All right, but congratulations to Riverside. They get a 21-0 win against Social Circle. All right, we'll take a break, come back. We'll have more recaps from this past Friday's game. We have our Player of the Week coming up as well. West Hall fans, you want to pay attention to that. High School Sports Unlimited, rolling on after this.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
High School Sports Unlimited rolling on. You can check us out Wednesday afternoons on AccessNorthGA.com on the WD1 TV. And then we record on Wednesday. You can see it at any point throughout the week. Just click on the blue tab on the main page on Access. And you can see highlights of the different games that we go to each week. And you can actually see a guy like Bob Christmas and the smile on his face after getting a big win against Chestatee. And you can see your favorite players because we do have our Gainesville JCs Player of the Week each week, and that's coming up a little bit later on. You can catch us on 1240 ESPN Radio. It's 1240 a.m., 6 p.m. Thursdays, 3 p.m. on Fridays. You can hear the audio of this broadcast. All right, coming up a little bit later on, we'll have your previews of the games coming up. Let's get back to the action from this past Friday. Congratulations. I love saying congratulations and saying first win for these teams. I mean, it stinks for them. It's in the middle of the season. You could still have time to turn around, but you don't want to have to wait 4 or 5 games to get your first win. But congratulations to West Hall. They get their first win of the year. They put a smackdown on Walnut Grove, buddy.
They did, and you hate that it comes in the middle of the season, but with the sub-region setup in 8 AAA, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When it comes, as long as it starts coming, now, then you're fine. I mean, I wrote in the story that's up on the website today, yeah, they set out 0-4, but they're sitting right where they want to be. They're right, tied for first in their sub-region. And all you got to do is win the sub-region to have a chance to win the region. So certainly they are excited about that victory. They really dominated Walnut Grove, like you said. Chandler Newton had a big game. A.J. Stevens had a big game, both receiving and running the ball. And, this is a team that we knew coming into the season had some ability, had some guys that could make things go, but just, lacked basically some experience in some key places. And as the season goes on, they're getting that experience. So it'll be interesting to see if they can, keep that up, especially with this week's big kind of emotional game coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. The battle for the paddle, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And we'll also mention Chandler Newton's outing here a little bit later on. But, yeah, you mentioned A.J. Stevens. 2 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then he led the team with 80 yards rushing and another touchdown. A.J. Stevens, outstanding. How many times do we see it where you say, I don't know if the quarterback's going to start this week? And then not only does he start, but he goes out and just romps. That was all the time. It happened this week.
Yeah, he had Chandler Newton had suffered what, as Coach Newton put it, a slight concussion. I've had a concussion that it never feels slight.
Right.
And he just got cleared the week, leading into the game against Walnut Grove and comes out and just destroys them. So he's obviously feeling no ill effects.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to West Hall. We'll talk more about their big game against Johnson coming up this week. All right, Lumpkin County gets a win. This was a close ball game. Until Lumpkin finally scores 24 unanswered points. They get the win in this big rivalry. 31-7 was the final score against White County. Ian McIntosh again.
Yeah, Ian McIntosh, every time Lumpkin County needs a big play, you get a feeling that McIntosh is going to provide it. He did so again this past week. We had a 44-yard touchdown catch, had an 84-yard touchdown run. The guy is just one of the most explosive players in North Georgia. And, Lumpkin County is certainly excited that he's on their team because the guy went from being a potential star in last year's team to really becoming a superstar this year, and he's done it in so many ways. Receiving, rushing, acting as a Wildcat quarterback. So anybody that plays Lumpkin County has got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, that's another one of those where not only is it a rivalry game, but it's a sub-region game, and so Lumpkin able to get that big sub-region win. This could be a very good year for Lumpkin County. It's starting out that way. All right, our cameras were at the Gainesville game. Gainesville took on the Johnson Knights. Once again, it was Deshaun Watson, this one, getting it done. And he doesn't just throw to one different guy, right? He likes to spread it around.
Oh, yeah. Deshaun is an equal opportunity passer. He will throw the ball to whoever is open. And he's got 3 guys that seem to be open a lot with Stephen Mason and Keontre Harrison, or just Trey Harrison, as everybody calls him, and Justin Cantrell. All 3 of those guys have had big games. It seems like every game this season, with the exception of the Buford contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I always call him Keontre Harrison. It's like, I'm sorry we don't call you by the short names because on the roster it's what it says.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you have to type out what's on the roster. I mean, a lot of people call him Trey. Some people just call him Key. So.
Right. Okay. You call him Key Harrison.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Meanwhile, Fort Johnson, they get 158 total yards, which isn't a bad outing against a Gainesville defense that is pretty good. But you kind of had a feeling that Gainesville might be able to take control of this thing early on. I'm sure they played them pretty close. I mean, it's one of those things where Gainesville, Bruce Miller talked about, he never gets a bad outing from Johnson. They always go out and really try hard.
No, and it was only 7-0 after the first quarter, I do believe, and then all of a sudden it's 41-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
Gainesville took advantage. They had 2 defensive scores. 2 interception returns for touchdowns, and you get those free points, so to speak, and things can turn quickly for you.
Johnson licking their chops. They're going to be taking on West Hall this week. We'll talk more about that game. Gainesville is going to be in action as well. Big win for East Hall. The Vikings get a win against Rabun County. 35-14 was the final of this one. Jamon Witt. We have a lot of good running backs in this entire area. Jamon Witt's just another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Another kid that has some wheels and certainly some vision. He ended up with 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. He just he's got so much speed. If somebody else who, if you get him past the line of scrimmage, you're not catching him.
Yeah.
And Rabun County, I don't think is going to have the speed to haul down somebody like Jamon Witt. And he ran wild. In fact, the entire East Hall backfield ran wild. Almost 400 yards rushing in the game. And, East Hall, if they can just keep things going. I mean, they're sitting there at 3-2, 1-0 in the sub-region. They've got some winnable games, but some tough games coming up. But if they can keep things going, I mean, I think they've got a pretty good season ahead of them here.
Yeah, if you look at the highlights on AccessNorthGA.com, love the black on black with the black helmets,
the flat black helmets.
I love that, man. No sheen on the thing. I think that's a great look. So that's a big win for East Hall. Is that Brian Gray style head coach? I mean, not the uniform so much, but keeping it on the ground, getting almost 400 yards rushing, or is that just kind of the personnel?
I think Brian Gray. Yeah, I think he'll do what it takes to win, and right now he knows he's got a lot of guys that can run the ball. He's got an offensive line with some experience and some size, so he's going to try to just line up and run over you if he can.
Yeah, so congratulations to East Hall, as Morgan says, a chance for the Vikings to really kind of get a couple more wins right in the middle part of the season and really get some good momentum. All right, Buford does it in so many different ways. This is my favorite stat of the entire week. Okay, so Buford beats Decatur 66-13. We thought it was going to be a kind of a blowout. Buford had 137 yards of offense at halftime, but they led 52-0. Yeah. How is that possible? That's the best stat I've heard all season. That is great.
Yeah, it's
not for Decatur though, of course.
Yeah, obviously. I think it's Buford's probably their special teams and defense and offense are probably getting together and trying to decide, all right, what funky ways can we come up with scoring right now? I mean, obviously they're not doing that, but it's just amazing how many different ways they can hurt you. It's 5
different ways, actually, is what they do.
You hate to laugh about it because there is a team that suffers on the other end of that, but they're a machine.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
Yeah, they really are. And so you think of the 5 different ways, and we'll try to come up with it later on. But no, Buford just dominates it, and there's going to be a lot of games like that. I mean, Buford had the front-loaded schedule; they got past it, and now they beat Lovett. And now it's GAC might be the only kind of spike in the road. Now.
GAC is the last big test. It'll be interesting to see who they play in their region crossover at the end of the season. My guess would be Lovett again, just from what I've seen, which that could be interesting. But GAC will provide certainly a better test than what they've gotten this past week and what they'll get this week. But it would still be a shock for Buford to even come close to losing.
An amazing thing is, and Lovett's a top 5 team, so I'm not including that game, but you never really see Buford get off to a slow start. You never see it 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. You see, I mean, they just steamroll guys for the most part, right?
Yeah,
just get it done in the first half.
Well, it's what they're used to, frankly. It's when you start having that much success, and it filters through the program. Even when you put kids in who are in a backup role, they know how to play, they know how to win, and when the game is there to be won, they're going to go ahead and put their foot down and make sure that there's no doubts about it. They don't want to leave anything to chance.
Yeah, and they didn't at all. 66-13, they beat Decatur. They'll be in action again this week. We'll talk more about that game coming up. Hab Central with a big win. They beat Winder Barrow and send Winder to their 19th straight loss, but a good win for Hab Central. They put up 54 in this game. 54-10 was the final score, and they put up over 550 yards of total offense.
Yeah, you don't think we're looking forward to that game against Flowery Branch just a little bit?
Yeah, that's going to be
on
good.
Friday. Yeah, it's Habersham Central. Kevin Ellison, I think unofficially, is leading the state in rushing touchdowns right now. The guy is just every week is doing something incredible, and you got a kid like that on your team. Fun things happen, and I haven't had a chance to see him, and that's why I'm so looking forward to this Friday. And I haven't seen Flowery Branch yet, so both of those teams, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of offense, I think, on Friday.
You're tipping your hat where you're going to be on Friday, huh?
Yeah, already doing it, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, congratulations to Hab Central not only to get the win, but I think this could have been a look-ahead game. I mean, I think they're looking at Flowery Branch, who's a top 5 team, and they absolutely took care of business. And yeah, we will talk more about that. Big matchup with Flowery Branch. I think it's going to be a good test for Kevin Ellison and that really high-powered Raider offense. All right, Hart County beats East Jackson. Sorry, Scott McIntyre. But Hart County gets the win 38-10 in that one. Commerce gets back in the win column. They shut out Athens Christian 41-0. Again, it was a big night for the offense as far as Commerce is concerned, with almost 500 yards of offense. Good game for them.
Yeah, absolutely, especially coming off back-to-back shutouts, losses. They coming into this game, I think they felt like they needed to get their mojo back just a little bit, and they certainly did. I think it was a little bit of a shock because Athens Christian was not a bad team coming in. Now, I understand that Athens Christian was missing their top 2 running backs in this game. I don't know how or why. I was just told this by the Commerce guy that phoned in the results. So certainly that probably skewed things a little bit, but regardless, you can only play who's in front of you, and Commerce dominated who was in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Commerce back in the win column. They're 2-3 now on the year. So it's not all bad news for our producer, Scott McIntyre, though. Jackson County gets a big win. They win 30-13 against Oglethorpe County, and that one and a good outing for Dustin Scott, who's a good player.
148 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Pretty decent night, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially, Jackson County had been struggling a little bit. They had lost 3 or 4 games in a row, and to end that skid, it was certainly a big deal for them.
Speaking of good individual efforts, we'll have our Gainesville JC's Player of the Week coming up next, and we will preview the games coming up this Friday or Thursday, depending on which team is your team. High School Sports Unlimited rolling on. Thanks for being with us.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
As we continue, High School Sports Unlimited will be here every week throughout the high school football season, the basketball season, the baseball season, and all seasons in between. Coming up, we got some news about, softball, correct?
Oh, yeah. Lots of softball and volleyball going on right now. And then cross country will kick up in about 2 weeks with their region title races.
So there you go. That's why he's sports editor of AccessNorthGA.com. Morgan Lee has his finger on the pulse of everything going on. So that's on the way.
And we even write stories about people that aren't winning every single game.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly right. Morgan Lee gets some great emails, by the way. We should do email of the week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'd like to bring that guy in here. And I send an email back. I was like, hey, why don't you go call these kids, loser to their face?
Yeah, I know, exactly. Morgan Lee gets all kinds of fantastic emails from people, and maybe it's better if we don't do that. Yeah. All right, well, let's get to some, we're going to get to some of the games coming up this week for some of these teams' sixth game, some of them their fifth game. But first, we have our Player of the Week from this past week. Gainesville JC's Player of the Week presented by Jacobs Media. Mr. Morgan Lee got to go to West Hall High School and talk with the quarterback down there, Chandler Newton, who had an outstanding game, and Morgan gave him his award.
Chandler, obviously, big win last week. Talk about how nice it was to kind of get some forward momentum at the start of the sub-region season.
It was good. I mean, we had a game plan going into Walnut Grove. We want to execute our passing game and establish our running game much because, usually we've been relying on the run in the past 4 games, so we wanted to really balance our offense. But there's good momentum going into Johnson and our rival with the Battle of Oakwood.
Absolutely. Talk about that game. I know you've only been involved in one of them, but the last 3 have been kind of crazy. I guess you've had a chance to see them from the sideline. What makes this game so just incredible?
So, being on the sidelines, being a ball boy for my dad for the past 3 or 4 years, just seeing this game is different than any other game. It's just 2 Oakwood schools going in, high scoring. It could be high scoring, could be a defensive game. It's just people know the intensity of the game, and what no one knows how the game will ever turn out. Like it's always a question mark of how the game's going to turn out.
Gotcha. As far as yourself, I know, just a sophomore this year. Talk about how you feel you've progressed as a quarterback and how you're playing so far this year.
I think I'm playing decent. I could be playing better, but for what we got, we could be a lot better than what we are now. But being a freshman last year and having a couple playing times at quarterback, really helped me settle in, see the game go a lot by slower. It's not really fast to me, so I go to a lot of quarterback camps and everything. My dad being the coach's son, you got to be on point every time.
Sure.
He's always riding me, making me hard. Being a leader, though, that's the one thing I got to work on, is being a better, positive leader and everything like that with being a sophomore.
Obviously, y'all had a rough start on the scoreboard, but, with that win last week, everything's been kind of a race. Everything's kind of started over. Talk about what you feel y'all can do going forward.
Well, we have a lot more confidence with that big win. Scoring 38 points is big for us because usually we're scoring 7-14. Moving the ball down the field, making big plays with our offense. And our defense played really good. And our offensive line is the best game they've had all year, all season, blocking and pass protection and everything. So overall, everything's just good, but we still have things to work on and come back Friday, try to get a W.
Absolutely. You feeling pretty excited?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Chandler Newton right there. Congratulations to him. 211 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He ran for another 59 yards and another score, so he's doing it all the way around. He's the coach's boy. Not a bad interview either. And he's right. Offensive line, didn't get to see the game, but I'm assuming the offensive line had their best game, as he said, because got to see them against East Hall. Big, formidable line. And I know against East Hall, those guys are just sliding right through there and getting to the quarterback every time. So if that offensive line can come together, they can put together some wins.
Yeah, again, as we said at the start of the program, they've got a lot of ability. It's just they've got a lot of youth as well, and a lot of kids that are still trying to get used to, I guess, leadership roles on that team. I believe that this is a squad that can improve, and of course, Coach Newton talked about it talked about it with me yesterday, and they were in this position last year. They beat Walnut Grove and had some momentum going forward, and they lost a lot of it in a loss to Johnson and what has become the craziest game in possibly North Georgia. So they're focused on trying to get a win however it comes this Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to Chandler Newton. He is the Gainesville JC's Player of the Week, presented by Jacobs Media. Leading right into our first game for our previews. Let's do it. It's the Battle of Oakwood, the Battle of Paddle, as our buddy Jody Spain likes to say, with Cotton Eye Joe's. And hey, he's a good guy, so we'll go with that one. Johnson going to be at West Hall, Spartan Stadium in Oakwood. You saw West Hall get their first win of the year. Johnson is 0-5, coming off that lost to Gainesville 47-0, but 2 teams that you can root for. We've talked about Johnson before and how they play so very hard. They just have a smaller roster. They're going up against a West Hall team that maybe has a little momentum now against Walnut Grove. But as you said, this is as crazy a game as you're going to find in this area, or at least over the last few years. It's been shootouts and a lot of action.
Well, the last 3 years, these 2 teams have been separated by a total of 7 points.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It's been just an unbelievably crazy game. You saw last year's game was 33-31, and it's one of those
with Johnson winning.
Yeah, with just one of those back and forth. Anything that can happen will happen in that game. Onside kicks, triple reverses, dogs and cats living together. It is one of the kind of spectacles of the season, and I know, especially as an outsider, we all love it just because it's so much fun to talk about and to watch unfold.
I have said before, and I'll say it again, of all sports in this entire area, this might be my favorite matchup. is the Battle of Oakwood, Johnson to West Hall. And I get to call it this year on radio. Heck yeah. So this game going to be on FM 102.9.
Did you lobby for that? Is that why I had to change all my story?
Might have slipped some money
yesterday.
No. There was other reasons for that. No, I had no idea I was going to do this game until I walked in today.
There was a change, just so everybody knows.
Yes, absolutely. But no, Johnson to West Hall, Battle of Oakwood, Johnson 0-5, West Hall's 1-4. But you could throw the records out the window with this one. All right, Oconee County going to be at Gainesville. This is at City Park. Gainesville's 4-1 on the year. Oconee County is nothing to sneeze at, man. I mean, they played Monroe area to overtime last week.
They've got a lot of athletes. They're playing better this year. They're a spread team that's gonna force you to get out in space and make plays. And this is not going to be an easy game for a Gainesville team that just got back into the top 10 this week after winning 4 straight. I think this is going to be I think especially first half. I bet this is going to be a lot more interesting of a game than a lot of people are imagining.
Yeah, absolutely. Gainesville won big last year, 41-7. And they lead 3-0 in the series overall. But again, 37-30 was the score last week. Oconee County losing to a good Monroe area team that put up over 40 points against a good Chestatee team. So that game is at City Park, and that game on 1240 ESPN Radio. By the way, at the end of this, we will go through where all the games on radio will be. All right, big test for Chestatee. They have to be really down after what happened last week against North Hall. And what's their consolation? They get a Stevens County team that's as good as Stevens County has had in a while. Stevens County comes in 4-1. Chestatee's 3-2.
Yeah, 4-1 with that one loss being a 1-point defeat to undefeated Elbert County at the moment. So, and that was in the season opener. Yeah, Stevens County can run the ball. You gotta, if you're a Chestatee fan, you got to be a little worried. You just gave up all those yards rushing to Amani Cross and North Hall. Well, here comes Chaz Thornton in Stevens County, and they like to run it just as much. A little bit different style of runner. He's more of a speed breakaway kind of guy, but he's a very compact runner, so he can deliver a shot when he needs to. It's going to be an interesting game. I think the biggest key to this is how has Jordan DeGraff healed up from the injury that he suffered last week. I haven't had a chance to talk with Stan Luttrell over at Chestatee yet. I'm going to try to do that today to see what his status is going to be. Because once he went down in that North Hall game, and Chestatee lost its starting quarterback, they really had a hard time kind of finding their rhythm.
They did. It can be said they really didn't have their rhythm. I guess they were driving. They took advantage of a mistake on special teams by North Hall.
They were down at the North Hall 10, and DeGraff takes an option read and runs around the end for a first down and crunches his leg and actually it was kind of strange. I guess you're running on adrenaline. He got tackled, and kind of fumbled the ball. Chestatee recovers. DeGraff gets up and runs back to where the ball was and then collapses in kind of a heap. So, I'm sure he initially had an adrenaline rush, didn't feel it, and then all of a sudden, ow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you root for a kid like that to get back on the field because he was having a very, very good season, and you love good quarterback play in this area. So hopefully he can get back out there, and Chestatee can play Stevens County close and maybe get themselves back on the winning track.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
Chaz Thornton is a monster, though, and that's the number one goal, is try to stop him if you are Chestatee. We'll take a break, come back, final segment, all previews for the final 12 minutes or so. This is your High School Sports Unlimited. Thanks for tuning in.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
High School Sports Unlimited. Once again, you can hear us on radio Thursday evening, 6 p.m., Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., and we do it all on Wednesday afternoon. Check us out, accessnorthga.com, WDUN TV. You can see the little blue tab up there at the top, and that's the on-demand. You can catch us each week on there, and you can see video highlights of all the action that Scott McIntyre, our producer, and your own Morgan Lee do a great job with that, by the way, while I'm gabbing on the radio. All right, we'll get to some more previews here in a minute, but it is going to be a big weekend as far as some other fall sports are concerned, namely softball and volleyball, right?
Yeah, both sets of fall sports are in their region tournaments at the moment, and 8AA, 8AAA, 8-4A all have their tournaments going on. I think it's been really intriguing to see what's going on with 8AA softball, especially because there's a lot of the teams from the mountain counties, Union, Fannin, Dawson County, have all been playing really well. They're all still alive. Banks County is also still alive. Fannin County is the number one seed out of that the north half of of 8AA, and just over the next 3 days, in 4 days really, because the championship games will be played Saturday. There's going to be a lot of good softball to be played. Buford softball just claimed a no worse than a number 2 seed for the state tournament. They're going to be going for their 5th state title this year in a row. 8 AAA, White County and Lumpkin County, I believe, are still alive and playing. I know White County is coming off last year's AAA state title, and really feels like they're starting to kind of peak at the right time. I think they're 15-1 in their last 16 games.
Wow.
And then you've got all the volleyball tournaments that start up, and there's a lot of good teams in this area between Flowery Branch and Lakeview and North Hall and West Hall, and East Hall has had a pretty good season. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next few days. It's just a ton of stuff to keep up with, and hopefully everybody will be calling and emailing. They have been so far. But it's going to be a hectic few days.
Again, sports@jacobsmedia.net is where you can get all the scores to Mr. Morgan Lee, and also where you can let us know if you love the show, hate the show, whatever. We take both those, by the way, and take them with a smile. No, if you want to see passion, we always talk about football, but they are very passionate, I know, with softball and for volleyball as well. I mean, you got fans that go out and enjoy these things, and I mean, this is a good end of the season.
Oh, absolutely, especially softball in this area produced 2 state titles last year and a runner-up in Union County. So there's certainly a lot of good softball being played around here right now. And then I didn't even really touch on cross country, which will start with its region meets. Another strong season for everybody, especially the North Hall teams, just kind of reloading as per usual. And the 8 AAA region meet will be up at Unicoi in a couple of weeks, and then the 8 4A meet, Flowery Branch, another team that's just been a dominant force in cross country. They'll be running in their region meet down in Conyers. So I think it's October 27th are the dates of the region meets. I do believe that's a Thursday.
Don't be wrong now.
I know. But a big day for all the area runners, and then a week after that going to the state meets. So there'll be a lot of area runners expected to win region and state titles this year again.
If you want to read about all the action, accessnorthga.com. Just go to the high school sports section. It's right there, kind of mingling with the football, and you can check it out. All right, let's get back to the action on the gridiron. We'll mention the Hab Central Flowery Branch game, just a small little game going on in Falcon Stadium. Mention that in a minute. But East Hall going to be on the road. They'll be at Union County. The Vikings, after that big win against Raven County, going to try to keep it going against Union. This could be a good win for the Vikings, get 2 games over 500 again.
Absolutely. If they could start off, right now they've equaled their win total from last year. Yeah. They can get that 4th win. I think that'll be kind of a big psychological boost. To go 2-0 in the sub-region will be an even bigger psychological boost. Union County is not a bad team by any means. They really nearly pulled it out last week against Banks County. So I don't think this is going to be an easy game, regardless of what Union's record says. And Brian Gray, I'm sure, would agree with that. It's never easy going on a long road trip anywhere in Region 8AA.
The worst news for East Hall is they got to go on the road, so they can't wear the sweet black-on-black jerseys. And wait till they return home. That's fine.
Be the gold. The gold on the flat black.
I love it. I can't tell you how much I love it. All right, here's the big one, or one of the really big ones, one that a lot of folks talk about. Habersham Central, 4-2 on the year, taking on Flowery Branch, number 3 team in Class 4A. They are 5-0. 2 teams that do it a little bit different offensively. I think a good test for both of these teams, too.
Yeah, absolutely. They do it differently, but the results are pretty much the same.
Yeah,
it's a lot of points. Both, Flowery Branch runs the spread option offense where the ball is going to, 8 different guys, it seems like, at any one time, and everybody's getting out in space. And, just when you think that you've got them shut down, then Jeremy Haley comes through the line and runs for 50 yards and a touchdown. Then you've got Habersham Central, which is running that triple option where everybody knows Kevin Ellison is the man, but yet no one's really stopped him. I mean, he's been slowed down by Clark Central, but even then, I think he still finished with over 200 yards of offense.
Wow.
So I really am looking forward to this game. I think that certainly you give Flowery Branch the edge in this one just because their defense has been playing so well all season. Habersham's defense has had some issues containing some of the faster teams, and certainly Flowery Branch is one of those. But it's a big region game, and Habersham's probably going to be feeling their oats a little bit at this point. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great contest.
I'm going to be armchair quarterback here for a second. Flowery Branch is a very good defense. Kevin Ellison is extremely good run that option. I say if Hab Central wins, one or two other guys need to step up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
got to have some other.
Absolutely,
options.
And they do have some other guys that can do that. I mean, Zach Franks has been a real force in the receiving game. He's been Ellison's top target. Patrick Burns is a bruiser at fullback who can get some things done. And that offensive line, as much as we talk about Ellison, obviously that offensive line must be doing a heck of a job for him to be able to get all those yards.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that one going to be at Falcon Stadium. That one going to be on AM 550 WDUN. All right, North Hall going to be on the road. They'll be at White County. It's a good matchup. North Hall is 2-3 on the year, trying to get back to the 500 mark, taking on a White County team that's running the option a little bit better, although they went down to Lumpkin County pretty good. I think it's a chance for North Hall to kind of roll in there and get themselves a win.
Yeah, if North Hall can come out of here at 3-3 and 2-0 in the sub-region, that confidence is going to be starting to build sky high at this point, or at that point. I think it's going to be an interesting game because, as you said, White County is by no means a bad team. They're a young team. They're learning what their new coaching staff wants from them. And they've actually, they've gained yards on just about everybody they've played with that triple option offense. It's hard to stop consistently. And they've got a lot of kids who can carry the ball, and it's going to be an interesting game. Certainly North Hall comes in feeling pretty good about themselves, but White County, I think at this point with what they've got and what they're dealing with, I don't think they're going to be too down.
Two bits of bad news for White County. First of all, North Hall played so well last week against Chestatee, and also I think North Hall is going to remember that last year White County's win snapped a 16-game losing streak against North Hall, so Trojans might be ready to kind of knock them off after what happened last year. All right, Thursday night action in Clarkston, baby. Go down and see it. Buford going to be at Clarkston. Buford 7-0, Clarkston's 1-4. This is another one where you can probably end up naming your score. Another of my favorite stats. Buford's got two of them. Clarkston leads this series 2-1. Their two wins came in 52 and 53. When Clarkston was a state power, I'm sure. But did they have any idea 60 years later the tables would be turned?
Oh, geez. Wow. Thanks, by the way, to Georgia High School Football Historians Association.
Love that website.
For the 52 and 53 marks there. But, I can't imagine. 52 and 53 might be the point totals at the end of the first half in this game, frankly. It's the reason they have to play on Thursday is just because there's only so many stadiums in Atlanta to go around. So not everybody can play on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Thursday night action, 7:30, Halford Stadium in Clarkston. That's my neighborhood.
Yeah, not too.
Might go down and see that.
Not too far.
All right, Jefferson.
Why don't you write me
a
game story on that one?
Hey, never mind. I got something to do that. The wife and I are going out to dinner. Jefferson going to be on the road at Oglethorpe County. Jefferson. The Dragons coming off that big loss against a very good North Oconee team. They're taking on Oglethorpe. That's 3-3. So Dragons can hopefully. They dominate the series 29-8. The Dragons are going to look to try to get back on the winning track. They do have to go on the road, which you mentioned can be a tough thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oglethorpe's been playing pretty well. They've got some athletes playing that kind of flex-bone, run-based attack. I think that Jackson County obviously showed that they can be handled if you approach it the right way, and Jefferson is going to be definitely looking for a bounce-back win.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Commerce is going to be at Riverside Military Academy. Riverside coming off that 21-0 win, their first win of the season, taking on a Commerce team that's trying to get back to the 500 mark after beating Athens Christian last week. A game we don't talk about 5A very often.
No.
But maybe the game in the entire state this week is North Gwinnett at Norcross. So you have 4-1 North Gwinnett, number 7 team in the state, against Norcross, the number 9 team in the state. We always talk about how good football is in Gwinnett County. This is one example of it.
Yeah, longtime region rivals there, and it should be a great game. Norcross has got, as per usual, just a ton of weapons. A receiver, and I'm blanking on his name, that's going to Tennessee. A running back that's just as powerful as he can be.
I'm sure if that receiver's going to Georgia, you'd know his name. Yeah, maybe.
No, yeah. I don't keep up with the recruiting game as much as I used to. It's too hard. There's so many names. Plus, like you said, Norcross is not in my coverage area. Sorry.
Yeah, I know exactly.
No, anyway, North Gwinnett is really bounced back. I mean, their only loss this season was to 5A's number one team, McEachern, in the first game of the season. So certainly, as much as I talked to Bob's Fire before the start of the season, and he was just kind of woe is us for North Gwinnett, it doesn't seem like things are going too poorly in Sewanee right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing just fine. All right, let's take a look at the radio schedule for this coming week. What can you find on the air? On AM 550 WDUN, you got Habersham Central going to be at Flowery Branch. I mean, just an outstanding matchup. It's going to a lot of people. Even Morgan Lee's going to that game. On the whole world is FM 102.9 WDUN. You got yourself the Battle of Oakwood. You got Johnson at West Hall. Always a very entertaining matchup. And then for you Gainesville fans, on 1240 ESPN Radio at City Park, Oconee County at Gainesville. So you can go to the game and you can listen to Joel and Harper. They can gab for a little while, and you can enjoy that. I appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks to Scott McIntyre, our producer and wonderful
Mr. Jackson County.
Single guy, by the way, ladies. Single guy. Sports at jacobsmedia.net. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And if you want to date with Scott McIntyre, we can make that happen as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you next week. Enjoy your games. High School Sports Unlimited. We are done.